Thanks. Now I'd like to explain a little bit more about the new log enhancements. With these enhancements, LM Logs now provides more flexibility into how alerts are generated. Previously, log alert conditions were checked against every log message independently, and if the condition matched, an alert would be generated. That's great if I'm required to act every time that a log is seen, but more often than not, I don't need to act on every log message. In fact, I expect log messages to contain varying levels of severities and bad words. But just as important as it is to identify logs that contain those things, it's even more important to be able to put thresholds around it. So for example, here I have a log query that I'm looking at some of my Kubernetes pods, and in the last 10 minutes, I've received 296 log messages. Now, just for the sake of this demo, let's say I wanted to be alert every time that standard error was included in the log message. I would have received 296 alerts in 10 minutes. That's not helping anybody. So now with LM logs, you can define how many times a log message needs to contain a certain condition over a specified period of time. If it's acceptable to receive a log message containing a certain condition a few times an hour, then it doesn't need to be an alert. And if the log needs to be seen hundreds of times in an hour to require action, you can now configure that. So let's take a look how to do that. First, it starts off with building a pipeline. So we're going to create a log pipeline, and we can do that either by going to the resource or the group level. So if I click on the three dots next to the resource, I'm going to create pipeline. And with the pipeline, we need to create a display name and also just how we want to define that pipeline. So a pipeline can be, again, resources or groups. All right, I've already created one, and I'll show you that in a second. So first you create the pipeline. And then we need to create the log message alert condition. So I can either go directly from my three dot menu here to create alert condition, and I can also do it in the upper right with my pipeline alerts. So if I am to create an alert condition, now I can choose what alert severity it will be, with warning, error, or critical. We create the display name, let's call it alert demo, and we'll choose the pipeline. Now you see I got a lot of pipelines in here, but here's the one I wanted to look at specifically, this CSI node. Right, you can give it a friendly description so that you can see when you're generating these alerts what the description is. And then we need to create a log query. So here's where I could put in any keywords, metadata tags, anything like that. And we have the message here for reference. So I'm just going to choose up here what I had, just the Kubernetes container name and the standard error. All right, so I'll paste that in there. And now we have this new option where previously it was for every matching log. Now I can choose only after a certain number of times. So for this example, I'm going to say I only want to be alerted when this condition is met 100 times, and then I can choose some from my presets, maybe after an hour. So if I receive this message 100 times in an hour, I want to create that alert. And I would save this and fire it off. Now the same can be true for alert suppression. So oftentimes when something is wrong, systems can repeat that same log message hundreds or thousands of times, creating noise that you need to sift through when you're trying to find the root cause. So now we can choose to suppress the alert using this same option. So instead of putting 100 here, I'll just say 1. So I only want to be alerted when I see one of these matching logs, and then I can define that period of time where I should suppress it for, so how long to suppress. In this one, I'll choose just an hour as well. And I'm just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to change the alert severity to error so that we will be able to highlight two specific different types of alerts. Save that as well and fire it off. So once you do that, your alerts are running. So for this specific pipeline, so this specific CSI node, we are going to search for that standard error and the specific container. Since I went ahead and did this, we can now go into our alerts pane and see this in action, see the results. So when I go to the alerts pane, I'm going to filter for my specific LM logs module. And we'll see here now that we have every hour, we have that error alert, which was the suppression. So that was, I only wanted to see one alert when my container name was liveness probe, and standard error. And then we also had the warning every time, and I can just filter these out as well. So now I can see my warning. It was generated every hour. Again, this was one match and suppressed for an hour, The other one was 100 times seen, and then notify me of that alert. So with these new enhancements, we hope that you can start to use log alerting as your use cases dictate, and instead of generating so much alert noise through LM logs, you now have the flexibility to create more actionable alerts that require your attention as you need it. Thanks, guys.